Hey there, everybody. We are really excited today to be able to talk with Aniyah. And Aniyah spent some time, quite a bit of time, quite a bit of her childhood in foster care and different aspects of foster care. And so we're really excited for you guys to hear her story because we believe that's the most powerful way for people to be able to understand what life is like for those kids. And she is now older and doing really well. And now we're so excited. She's giving back and working now with some kids that are aging out of the foster care system. And so I'm going to turn it over to Elizabeth. We're just really excited for you guys to be able to hear some of her story today. And thank you so much, Aniyah, for your willingness to be with us and to tell your story today.
No problem.
Well, thank you, Aniyah. We're super excited to be able to talk with you today. So can you tell us how old you were when you went into care and how long you were in the foster care system?
I was in care since the age of 2.5 or 3, and I was there until I aged out, which is 18.
What is your earliest memory of being in care?
My earliest memory was going to a foster home with my older brother, and I don't really remember being taken away, if that makes any sense, but that's my earliest memory.
And do you know how many placements you were in from the time you went into care until you aged out?
Including homes and RTCs, which are residential treatment centers, and shelters. I'm believing maybe over 40, maybe.
That's a lot of placements. Yes. Once you became a teenager, what was the longest stretch of time you were in one place without being moved?
The longest would be between 6 months to a year.
And so that means that you were in a different school. Were you ever in a different city? Like what city, when you went into care, were you from Houston?
No. I was in Cleveland, Texas, and then was moved to Houston. Then I've been in Beaumont, Port Arthur, back to Houston. Trying to think of more places. Yeah, it was an accumulation of those places that I was at.
Wow. And why do you think you were moved so much?
Partly because of the foster parents, but partly because of me. Not understanding what was going on. And then also, as I got older, I was rebelling a lot. So that's what I would say.
I remember when we talked before, you mentioned about how in the beginning you were really trying, to attach. And then will you just talk more to how that disappointment when you get moved and how that makes you feel?
Yeah, sure. Well, whenever you're thinking, like, I think the longest I stayed somewhere in the beginning before I started moving, so much, was about 5 years. So I got accustomed to that and I thought that was my forever home. But then, after that, I think I still try to make attachments, but then you soon find out that it's not worth it because the life that I lived, it didn't allow me to make any attachments. And then you start losing hope in people and faith in people as well. And then either you start wanting that attention and then, you act out and things like that. But yeah, for how many times I moved, I didn't get close to anybody after that. And then it goes on until when you're older too.
So the one you were in for 5 years, how old were you then? Do you know?
Oh, yes. I was I think I was right at the end of being 6 but I think 7 to 12.
Okay. And why did you get moved out of that placement?
Well, what I was told in the beginning was that I was being bad and I was uncontrollable or something. But then when someone finally told me and set me down, because I thought I was going back. If I was good, if I did everything I was supposed to do, I would go back. But then I was told that there was a lot of things going on with the foster parent, and that was a lie. So she wasn't never coming back, and her intentions wasn't to get me again. And it wasn't something I did. It was just something she was dealing with. She was doing a lot of things that she shouldn't have been.
Gosh, and looking back on that now as you're an adult and a mom yourself, what do you wish she would have done in that situation? Do you wish she would have just told you, look, I can't handle this? I mean, that.
Um, maybe a year and a half ago, yes, but now, no. I feel like I had to go through that to become who I'm supposed to be.
Wow,
And to, Mhm.
that's amazing. So, did you have anyone consistently in your life the whole time you were in care? I think we lost her. I can't hear you, Audrey. You're muted.
Yeah, I don't know if she lost her connection. It's still showing that she's here.
I see her. Hold on, let me text her.
Okay, she went off, so maybe she'll come back on.
I'm texting her.
Okay. Okay, sorry about that, guys. We're having a little bit of technical difficulty, but I think we're back online now.
Okay, so you mentioned earlier in one of the questions that your older brother, that you all were putting care together.
Mm-hmm.
How long were you guys together in care?
I don't believe it was very long. I'm just making a guesstimate. I'm thinking in care we were maybe together maybe 2 or 3 years. That's about it. But I don't really remember how long.
Are you still in touch with him?
No.
No, no.
Mm-hmm.
Is that your only sibling that you know of?
No, I have more siblings, but that was the one that went with me to foster care.
Oh, into foster care. Okay. Mm-hmm. So you talked about being in that one home for 5 years. When they moved you out of that home, did Child Protective Services get you any type of therapy or counseling services?
Oh, well, I went to a shelter from there. So it was a shock for me because I've never been to one. And to learn that you're a number, felt like, or that you're not so important or you're not so different. Because my whole thing was, yeah, I'm in foster care, but in that home, I never had to think about it. I never thought of myself as a foster child. So when I got to a shelter, things got so real for me. And you start, even in the shelter, I had this thing, well, I'm going back to my home. I'm just here because my behavior, I'm different from you guys. I'm not this, I'm not that. But fights and beatings and not eating and stuff like that, you start thinking, wait a minute, and then to be told that you just have to get your behavior together and then you can go back. That's the whole reason you're here. Then a counselor sits me down and says, that's not why you're here. No, you're not going back. But you still have to deal with it alone at such a young age. And then you're in a room. I was one of the littlest ones there and youngest one. So yeah, I had life big time there. Learned things big time there.
Was there anyone in that shelter that kind of put you under their wing or helped you? Nobody. No. So how did you survive?
The activities that they allowed us to do, it's always somebody, because I was youngest and I was very, very little for my age. There's always one of the older, people, one of the older members there. They're in foster care too, or in the shelter too, but they'll kind of take you under your wing. Sometimes it's for the right reason, sometimes it's not. It's just you'll figure out in the end, and it never works out.
Oh gosh, I'm so sorry. That had to be so scary.
Yeah, it was.
So did you have anyone consistently in your life the whole time you were in care?
No. I know one person one day and they would say all these nice things, and then at first I believed them. I think I've always believed people at their word. That gets me in a lot of trouble. But as life went on, no. I can say no.
So if you had something going on, like if you were in that shelter and you didn't feel safe, who could you call? Who would you call
No one. I just write or scream or sing all day or pray to God or act out.
Yeah. So you didn't have any mentors at all your whole
No.
time in here?
No, they were part of the problem sometimes. It wasn't a mentor.